Hello and welcome again to another episode of Elephants in the Room. And today we're talking about the Arizona border situation. And, you know, a lot of us, or people who have houses, you put a fence around your house to keep stuff in and sometimes to keep stuff out. In this situation here in Arizona, Texas, and the border states, some of the governors have been struggling to try to find ways in which they can protect their state. And you have to ask yourself, well, how do you go about doing that? How do you take time and use resources to do that when the federal government isn't doing it? Well, Arizona came up with what they consider a way, and they took a bunch of shipping containers, and they spent about $80 million to do it. Not government money, but not federal government money, but the state money. They spent $80 million to get that done. And the federal government, which isn't doing anything for immigration, took the state government to court to force them to take the containers down. Now, with that being said, there's no protection against people that's coming across the border. And for the life of me, I just don't understand how you have this round robin situation where the federal government, they're going to fight you because you're trying to secure the border to the best of your ability. But they won't secure the border to the best of their ability. And the people that are existing on the Border Patrol, who's trying to do their job, they're spending more time changing diapers and doing a bunch of domestic stuff to take care of people who are crossing the border. But if you secured the border properly, we wouldn't have this issue. And the irony in this right here is that the United States spends millions of dollars, I can say billions of dollars across the world, protecting other countries' borders from aggression, protecting other countries' borders from this very thing, which is the border being overrun. If your border's being overrun and you don't know who's coming in, you don't know what they're bringing in. You don't know what diseases. You don't know what nefarious characters are coming through. You just don't know, But yet and still, if I take a plane again from England to United States, I have to go through customs. I have to declare. I have people asking me questions. I have them going through my bags and checking me to see, hey, does this person belong here? There's a process that I have to go through if I fly into the United States. But if you go through the southern border, there is no process if you don't get caught by DHS. Department of Homeland Security, aka Border Patrol. If you don't get caught by them, then theoretically you're just walking across the border free, and you can go into the interior United States and do whatever you want to do. And even if you do get caught by the Border Patrol, they will put you on a bus, a plane, train, or whatever, and they will ship you to different parts of the country, theoretically to cities and states that have not necessarily approved them coming there. So now what you've done, you shifted people to places where their resources didn't follow. And that's a problem. And nothing is coming about it. So it's going to be interesting to see what occurs in Arizona. I think right now they have to take all those containers down. So now you spend all the money putting the containers up. Now you have to take them down. And the deadline was set by the judge of having these containers taken down by January 4th. Today is December 25th, 2022. So now they're scrambling to try to get these containers down. Obviously, I don't think they'll make that deadline, but something has to be done because you can't consistently have these people just coming across the border. I don't care if it's Mexican, Nicaraguans, Africans, whoever. You can't have people just crossing the border, at will. And the irony in this right here, and I don't understand how this works, but if you have people that come from Haiti or what I might say even Cuba sometimes, they used to try to come in these boats. The United States would stop said people and darn near make them turn around. They had some people that came across, and I think this was on the news. It was where the people were thought to have gotten whipped and beaten by folks on horseback. I don't necessarily think the truth has ever come out about that one way or the other. But one thing I do know is that they had those folks corralled, and one thing I do know is that they made a concerted effort to get those people back to their country. And so I'm like, why can't they put that same amount of energy into securing our border, so that way all Americans are secure? Because even if you're not at a border town or a border state, certainly, if you're in Georgia, if you're in Illinois, if you're in Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, these things will eventually affect you, because those people are eventually going to knock at your doorstep, or knock at the resources of the state or the city or the town, parish, or whatever you want to call it. They're going to eventually start knocking at those doors and saying, "Hey, we need assistance, we need help." No issue giving people help. That's a great and wonderful thing. But when you have the numbers that these people that are coming across the border, these numbers are not sustainable. And I think, if you look at the amount of people that are applying for assistance just regular Americans applying for assistance, who do you prioritize if you have somebody who illegally came across the border versus somebody who is an existing citizen? Who gets priority? That's a question I would love for some of these politicians in Washington and even the local states to answer. If I have a person who's on the street, who's living in a tent, who's been destitute, homeless for X amount of years, and I have somebody who's come across the border fresh from South America or wherever they may have come from, but they use that avenue to get to the United States. If I have somebody like that, who gets the assistance first? Does the person that's been in America, do they not get the assistance and you assist the person outside the country, or vice versa? I think these are the kind of questions that people need to start asking, because I listen to comments, I listen to Twitter, and you hear people say, well, they should be allowed to come. They should be allowed to come. Everybody who's saying that, they should be allowed to come to your house, and then you take your resources and you use your resources to take care of said person. And maybe that would change that tune and that tone and that mantra, as far as saying, hey, we want people just to come. I see pictures in Cali and in San Francisco of homeless folks lined up the streets. I go through Atlanta sometimes, and when I go through Atlanta, there are encampments in different places. A whole bridge got burnt down, supposedly behind somebody being homeless. So people are going to have to start opening their eyes and waking up and say, hey, wait a minute. The United States has to get serious about certain things, and our border security is one thing. It just seems like the everything that we should be doing, we're not doing right now. And when I read this about Arizona Governor Doug Ducey has agreed to take down and dismantle the trailers, I'm just like, what else can these people do? What is it going to take? Is it going to take something catastrophic happening before we say, hey, wait a minute, this is too much? The United States is being overrun. We're getting in our own way. We're doing stupid and making stupid decisions. So I tell everybody, take a look at your local news. Take a look at your alternative news. There's some great alternative news out here that you can get the truth, and there's some truth tellers that are out here doing it and doing real investigative journalism. So again, this is Ed Walters. I want to thank you again for listening to The Elephants in the Room. Thank you.